Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good evening, everybody. We finally made it. I'm assuming we're good. We 5x5 out there, Fun Girls still? I hope we are. We've got Canuck on here. And say hello, Canuck.
Hello, everybody.
5x5, Timmy says. Right on, right on, right on. I got to turn up my headset just a little bit. Right on. So we're good tonight. Major updates, major stuff going on with OBS and then NVIDIA and conflicts. Oh, boy. And Microsoft. It seemed like we did 3 updates this last week, and it's just, you never know you got it all fixed until when you go to use it. So right now, I had to blow everything out, remove all the drivers, then reinstall them all. Updated versions, of course. So, hey, let's hope it works. Tonight, it's all Iran's fault. Is it Iran or is it Iran? No, it's Iran, because I don't run.
Well, they're all going to be running one way or the other. If it isn't from bombs, the earthquakes will get them eventually.
Yes, sir. Oh, my land. Oh, my land. Oh, tonight, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. So we're going to get right into it. We're running a little bit late today. Normally, we're finishing up about now, but your computer hasn't worked all day. I'm sorry, girl. Should have called me. I might have been able to help, maybe. But anyway, here's our map. This is what we're going to talk about today. On this map, I'm going to blow it up for you the best I can. The red lines are false, and Canuck is got a few things he wants to talk to you. I want to know about the flow of earthquakes, where the major earthquakes have happened, the central part where these mountain ranges right here on the central Iran, that's where all those nuclear sites were that got pounded tonight. And
and I'm going to explain that, and I'll give the name of the faults, and I'm going to try to do the simplified version of this tonight.
All right, cool. So, where would you like to start, bud? You got the map up? Run.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about Western Iran for right now, and then we'll go into all the faults around Tehran after. The ones at Tehran are the Alborz Mountains. So Alborz Mountains up there are the ones that go right through Tehran. So I'll just say that first. Now I'm going to start way up in the corner, up where it says NTF. So the NTF is the North Tabriz fault. So if you've been paying attention to all the stuff they've been blowing up over there, well, that's where one of the big bases is in Tabriz. So
right, but that's also connected to the Anatolian fault too, right?
Yeah. If you see off of this, because it goes across Iraq,
mm-hmm.
and it goes all the way over through Syria and connects up there, because these mountains that go through here are the Zagros Mountains.
Yeah, Zagros. You can say however you want.
And this whole section of Western Iran going all the way right down to the south, they actually call that the Zagros Thrust and Fold Belt. So it's a major plate boundary between the Arabian plate and Eurasia, which is why it gets so many quakes. And all these faults can make like 7 pluses that we're going to talk about.
All right, so it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different areas. So go for it. Start where you want to start, bud.
Yeah, so I mentioned Tabriz. So where these are that
we're talking about the Northwest, everybody.
Yeah, that come down through, and it goes all the way right down to the south, like the whole way through it pretty much. Those are like the edge of the mountain range, the Zagros Mountains. So they'd be like the thrust faults at the bottom of the mountains on that side. So once you come down on these, Natanz, which they just blew up, and Esfahan is all along this section between the North Tabriz fault and where it has QZCF, because QZCF is the Qom Zafra fault. And where they just blew up Fort O is just a little bit above where the O is there, where they have the OZF for the name of the fault. That's where it is. So these faults go through the same area where they have all these nuke sites that they just blew up.
So it seems to me that the U.S. is doing a major effort, not just for the world, but for the world. If these guys get a major earthquake, we're going to have a major spill, a nuclear spill, like, 3 Mile Island or up there in Ukraine or Russia,
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Well, they've been warned because when I was reading about Fort O, because I've been reading about it lately,
right.
The IAEA told them they never should have put it there because it's too close to the Qom Zafra fault, which can make 7s. They've figured out now.
Yeah, pretty stupid, right?
Yeah, but it makes sense because they're putting all this stuff in mountains, right? Well, the mountains are there because of the thrust faults. And it's the same with all their, like, we're just talking about nuke sites, but all their missile bases are the same thing, right? Because they put them in all the mountains. And it's going to make more sense once we talk about the stuff in Tehran, because it's the same thing there too. But anyway, so coming on down through here, it keeps going on, and then it goes to this other fault, the DSF, which, how do I say it again? Deshir fault. So you see how it comes down, and then there's the other one there that they don't have marked on here, but it goes all the way down. So and there's one. I'm not sure.
The DSF is a Deshir fault that crosses the mountains.
Yeah.
And it connects to the Santa Handijian, Sirjian. I'm going to call it Sanjian zone, okay? Easy.
Yeah, I don't want to say
Sanjian.
that word because it's too
Yeah.
complicated. So it basically comes all the way down and goes right close to where the Bouchier nuke site is, which they didn't blow up because the Russians are there still working. So they didn't blow that one up. Which I'm not sure which one it's on here. It's probably the next one over there. Because that's where it is. It's not too far off where Gulf of Oman is. Bouchier. It's inland a little bit closer to the where the mountains are, but there's a fault that goes right under it too that they've been worried about before. I don't remember the name of it, but they do have it on here showing the faults. They don't have all the names on these ones, and they don't have the ones on this map. They don't have the ones named in Tehran, but when we get into that, you'll see them when we go to the next map. So I just wanted to do that first tonight so people can understand like what we're looking at. And so the Persian Gulf is there because it's like a little rift zone between the two plates smashing together, Arabian plate and Eurasia. Now I haven't looked at it, but I guess because see they have the arrow on there. I think they mean that the plate is going that way. So see, eventually the Arabian plate's probably going to smash into Iran and Saudi Arabia, and all their Emirates will be joining the Iranians. So I thought that was interesting when I read that too.
What was that? Say that again, because I didn't fully understand it.
Yeah, down here at the bottom, that's the Arabian plate. So see, they have it marked Saudi Arabia. And they have the arrow on here.
Okay, the Persian Gulf's moving north at 22 millimeters.
Well, Saudi Arabian plate is.
The Arabian plate. Okay.
Yeah, so it's eventually going to, there's not going to be any Persian Gulf. It's going to attach itself to Iran. So they better make friends pretty soon.
You're right.
Be forced into it one way or the other.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway, so I thought that was interesting when I found this map. Eventually, they're all going to be smashed together. And same with the Strait of Hormuz over here too, right? The Iranians are going to try and block. Well, eventually that's going to smash up into there, and it's all going to be together.
Right.
So
well, I got an image of where the Tehran is, and Fordo, and Natanz, and Isfahan in Iraq, and Bashir, right? I've got an image on the screen where those nuclear sites are. So bouncing back and forth, you can see on the same kind of map where these sites are. Here's the rock, here's the mountain range right here. Then the other mountain range, it's really kind of gobbledygook down there. There's a nuclear site down on this end. So we have a nuclear site down here where this fault goes. I don't know what fault that is. It goes right into the Persian Gulf, right at the arrow, where the Sanjian splits. Yeah, okay. It's
on this map. Anyway, because this
is
like
so Bashir is north of that. Then there's a Darkhoven, which is right next to Iraq there. That's pretty far out. And that would be up in here.
And all their main missile bases are all in these same areas, which they're of course not marked. Because they have so many, they don't even know how many. They know the names of some of them, but
these are the names of the.
They don't know because they've been building missile bases there in Iran since 1984, so they've had 41 years to build places to put stuff, and that's when they started doing their missile.
Excuse me.
So they've been doing missile research since '84. So within 5 years of the revolution, Iranian Revolution, they were building stuff to put missiles and everything.
Yeah, so
even before they were doing the nuke sites.
They have a couple of heavy water areas the Tehran has the nuclear research center. Fordo has the enrichment facility. Arak, it's ARAK, heavy water reactor. Then uranium conversion is in Isfahan, and Natanz is a nuclear center, and then Bashir is a nuclear power plant, and that's actually the reason that didn't get hit was because a desalination plant down there brings in a lot of water for people. So mighty good of them, right?
Yeah.
Not to hit them.
Yeah. So that's the Western Iran part. So what we're going to do next, we're going to jump into Tehran itself. So I'm going to put in another map in there. Copy.
All right. Share the screen. Share it. I should just save the image so I can blow it up. It is a PNG. There we go. Window. This one. Share. Loading. Show on stream. Okay. All right. This is Tehran, everybody.
Yeah. So these are like all the ones that are running right under the city or the region that they're worried about. So I'm not going to talk about all of them here, but I'm going to give you the main ones that they're most concerned about. So the two that they're most concerned about is the North Tehran fault and the Moshe fault. Moshe.
East-west faults right down the middle.
Yeah. And the Moshe fault is the one that the big quake that happened in 1830 started on. So they say it originated on that fault up there on Moshe. Now, if you read the latest study on it, I think was from like 2017, but the newest one on the North Tehran fault from like 2025 says that fault, North Tehran fault, also broke with it. So that quake that happened in 1830, March 1830, was between a 7 and 7.4. Now, Tehran, the city at that time in 1830, only had 50,000 per population. Tehran didn't become the capital of Iran until 1796. So it was just starting to get bigger, like at the start of early 1800s, more people started moving there. It was just like a small little village before. Like there was little villages all over the place here, like going way back. But
so when it, uh-oh.
I don't know if they're rocket alerts or drone alerts, but because my phone's too far away for me to see it because I was charging it again. But anyway, so back to this. So these are the two faults they're most worried about because they know in the past they've made high 7 super close to Tehran. Now, the other ones here, there was 3s that hit back in March of this year that shook the city. And they were trying to figure out which fault it was on, and it's the Robat Kareem fault, which is just, it's a northwest to southeast one, but it's a little bit south of the main part of the city there. So they've been doing all sorts of study on that one because they figured out now it can make 7s. So the threes that happened back there in March of this year were on that fault, and it like shook them up pretty good up in the city. So they've been worried about that one now too, thinking that it can go off with a 7 as well. All these other ones can too, but they have pretty good records on them, so they know like when the last times they went off. And because I found one study, they have 30,000 year record of the faults there. So it's only these 3 right now that they're most concerned with: the North Tehran fault, the Moshe fault, and the Rabat Kareem fault. And the current population there is 16.8 million, like if you include the whole region. In the city itself is 9.7 million. Those are the 2025 numbers. And they're really concerned because there's so many people there, and they know it's gone 7 here in the past. So if it does it again, it's gonna not be good. It'd be like Turkey, except worse. 2023 Turkey, because there's way more people there.
All right, that's thank you for that. Well, it just, oh God, it's an Araba 2 minutes ago, airplane or drone.
Yeah, it must be drones. So they'd send drones before they do the missile.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was checking out.
Yeah. So now the next thing I'm going to do is talk more. See if I can find it again here. I'll do the big study first.
Okay,
Out
I
in
appreciate that.
2017.
I love you too, Walleye King. Have a good night, my brother.
I can only read the abstract, but it gives like history.
That's all right. That's all right, bud. Now you're going to talk about the North Tehran fault or the Moshe fault?
I'm going to cover a bunch of them.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to keep the same image on the screen.
Yeah, just keep it up there because I'm just going to read the abstract of this study that I put in there.
All right. This it's a Tehran earthquake time bomb. Author is Manuel Barbarian and Robert Yates. Published December 21st of 2017 in the Tectonic Evolution and Collision of Seismicity of Southwest Asia. So in the Geological Society of America volume.
Because it gives like a history of like the biggest quakes.
Right. So go ahead.
In that area.
I'll try to grab where the location is if you tell me on what fault it's on.
Yeah. Okay. The mega city of Tehran, the political, economic, and military center of Iran, is exposed to a risk of large magnitude earthquakes originating on several adjacent and inner city active faults. The city lies at the southern foot of the central Alborz Mountains, which frame the South Caspian Basin and have been the source of damaging historical left lateral strike slip, and reverse fault earthquakes. So they're like those east-west faults, basically.
Mm-hmm.
The most recent destructive earthquake in Alborz was the Rudbar left slip earthquake of magnitude 7.3 on June 20th, 1990, northwest of Tehran, taking more than 40,000 lives and destroying 3 cities. This earthquake was in a seismic gap, and its source fault did not show clear geomorphic signs of being active prior to this earthquake, so they didn't even know that it could make a 7 before it did in 1990. Yeah. East of Tehran, the 22nd December 856 Komesh Damgon earthquake had a magnitude previously estimated at magnitude 7.9, with estimated losses of 40,000 to 200,000 lives. So that 856 one they think was North Tehran fault.
Yeah, the Manjil Rudbar earthquake 1990 was north west of downtown Tehran. If I can see it. Yeah, northwest. Pretty close to the coast from Zanjan across the mountains northwest to southeast. Hostile aircraft intrusion.
Yeah, some more drones.
Yeah.
So it said, I'll just read more of this. Our reevaluation of historical, archaeological, and structural evidence reduces estimates of both magnitude and losses similar to
right up in here.
The 1990 Rudbar earthquake. The latest earthquake to affect
Rudbar.
The present Tehran metropolitan area was the Lavasanat earthquake on the central section of the Moshe Fault on 27th March 1830, with its epicenter located 30 kilometers northeast of the city, which had a magnitude of magnitude 7 to 7.4. Prior to this event, the Ruan earthquake north of Tehran struck the same section of the fault on 23rd February 958, with the magnitude previously estimated at magnitude 7.7, although our reevaluation reduces the magnitude to around magnitude 7 to 7.4. So, like similar sizes, both the 958 and 1830 earthquakes. Both the 958 and 1830 earthquakes along the central segment of the Moshe Fault, with an interval of 872 years, might have lowered the North Tehran fault system near the cities of Tehran and Karaj, as well as the faults underneath the metropolitan area. The North Tehran fault system west of Tehran might have sustained an earthquake of magnitude 7 in May 1177. The earthquake histories of the Neavaran, Darake, Farazad, and Can left lateral strike slip fault, which are all part of the North Tehran.
What year are you talking about?
Well, they're talking about 1177.
Okay,
there's 7 there and 1177 too.
Okay.
Was on one segment of these faults.
The Razvarin Khorassan province fault, I think that's the one. 60,000 people died. 6.5, 1101, and something else. That's in the northeast.
Yeah.
Of the country.
So they're saying they're all part of the North Tehran fault system at the mountain front north of the city. The inner city, Mahmudia and Davudia, or however they say it, south dipping reverse faults, the central eastern section of the North Tehran fault system, now within the metropolitan area. So the city itself has gone out so far that it's all on top of all these faults now, which when all these happened years ago, it was just little villages out there, not a gigantic city with a whole bunch of people. And as well as blind thrusts under the city are unknown. So see, it's the same problem they're having figuring out the blind thrust faults that they don't know about, same as like what's happening everywhere else. Like in California, they're trying to figure out where all the blind thrust faults are, which they're finding. When they do find one, they all make sevens.
Yeah, the topography of Tehran, Iran is very weird.
Yeah,
reminds me of Turkey quite a bit because Turkey's on this side here. I'm showing a map of the world, from GE. You can see all these folds of thrusts faults, right? Kind of northwest to southeast, and some of them are even east-west or west-east, whatever you want to call it, because there is kind of a bend and it kind of shoots back up to be northwest to southeast. But there is a major fault right through there. Wow. But here's Tehran, right? So in zooming in is about as good as I want to get, and then here's Tehran right here. You can see the Moshe Fault, right? So on the Moshe Fault is probably this big old badass right there, right? Kind of falls through here. I wonder if they'll do it here. How do you spell Moshe? Mosha
Okay. Yeah.
fault. No, they don't. They don't have a. I have to look it up over here. Nope. The Moshe Fault. Central northern Iran. Yeah. Oh, I got a. I got. Oh, there's big. All right. So there's a long-term trigger Moshe Fault by Damavad volcano, Iran. Implications. Oh shoot. See if we got some images here.
Yeah,
You can see the
some of them,
Moshe Fault right here.
mountains are like they say are ancient
Right.
volcanoes. If you actually go in and start reading about each one.
Right.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can zoom in on this one here.
That's also what they're building all their bunkers in. It's going to get funnier when we talk about where
All right.
Ayatollah is when we get to that here.
Yeah, I think they got him.
Yeah.
I do. I think they got him last night.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever.
So they say there hasn't been a big 7 within the metropolitan area itself.
Right. The greater metropolitan area for how long?
839 years. But they're
Wow.
worried. They're worried because of the thrust faults. They don't know when they last went off. So that's why they're worried. And they talk about 1830, but of course it was a little bit outside of the city. So they talk about there. And then they go with the active fault hazard to the rapidly growing population along several faults. It is necessary for the government to conduct extensive paleoseismic trenching to identify the most hazardous of Tehran's faults, previous rupture areas, average co-seismic slip rates, earthquake magnitudes, and average recurrent periods of earthquakes from at least 8 fault systems within the metropolitan area. So this study was from 2017, but if you look at the 2025 ones, there's now 10 faults in the area of Tehran that they think are dangerous. So just in 8 years, they've found more. And then it says fault systems within the metropolitan area deal with extensive corruption of the construction and building inspection industries, and because they do have seismic codes, but nobody's following them. Enforce the 1969, 88, and 1990 Iranian code for seismic resistant design of buildings. So it's the same problem they had in eastern Turkey. Nobody was following they were just building buildings and putting people
right,
not following the rules. And in this, it mentions, as with the 12th January 2010 magnitude 7 Haiti earthquake, losses from the next Tehran earthquake of magnitude 7 could exceed 100,000 people. Now, this was in 2017, but
yeah. See, I got 2017 2 major quakes in the southeast of Iran.
Yeah.
Kermanshah and Sistan and Baljukistan 7.7 and 7.3.
Yeah, we're going to look at the list of quakes there here.
Okay, cool. All right, that's what
we're going to see all the different places that it's hit, and it's like all around. Okay, it is necessary to prepare and implement an earthquake management system master plan as a disaster prevention tool. Enforce the building code with transparency and retrofit public structures and all that stuff. Well, they did another big study in 2018 after this, and they basically found out even more crazy stuff, that it's major liquefaction and all this other stuff. So all the buildings are all going to fall down, just like what they did in Turkey. So especially since 2023, they've been freaking out there, going crazy, doing studies, trying to figure out this, that, and the other thing. And the current president, he knows all about it, I guess, because I found a thing where he was talking about it, and he said probably our best option is to evacuate the city, put it somewhere else. That was his conclusion, which I thought was very funny. This was like a couple years ago, before he became the president. So that was his solution. He said we should put the capital city somewhere else because there's no way we're going to do anything about this, which is very funny. Well, not funny, but ironic, because now a whole bunch of people have already left the city with all the stuff that's going on there right now. So everybody's just getting ahead of it, I guess, really.
Right.
Yeah.
See,
in 2017, it was close to 15 million population, which was 20% of the whole population Iran living there. Well, now it's more than that, 16.8 as of 2025. So I thought it was crazy once I started reading all this stuff. Like, I knew they were worried about it since the 2023 Turkey quakes, but I hadn't gone into super detail.
You haven't gone into detail, yeah. It does seem like, in this article you're reading, that this place, because it is susceptible to major quakes, it's more susceptible because they don't follow a plan to make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the same thing in Eastern Turkey too.
Yeah.
So they didn't follow. Even though if you read all the studies from there in Turkey, what's the same thing as here in Iran that we're talking about? They knew that it had big quakes there before, but nobody was ignoring it, basically. And they knew because, like, after the 2023 ones happened in Turkey, I saw that they'd gone back and found the same thing that I had. They were talking about all the historical quakes back there in the 1100s and 1200s that were in that exact same spot with, like, multiple sevens. So they should have known that it was
right.
It's just that the people there were ignoring it, right? Because I said, well, we're not going to worry about it. It's not going to happen to us. Well, it did. And if that duplicates, it's just going to keep doing it.
Right.
And when I was looking up all those Turkey quakes, I found that often Iran goes off with a big one right before the Turkey quake happens. And so you'll see when we look up the list of quakes in Iran, that's what it does. Next. But there's corruption everywhere, so that's how it goes.
Right. All right, so you want to go to here. List of, I'm already there. Oh, these got a better map. Shoot, this is a way better map. Let me save this image. Let me see if it'll come up even better looking. Yeah, I should be doing this one. Showing, there we go. Actually, not that one. Hide, share, screen, window, this one, share. Loading, okay. Yeah, I can zoom in on this one. Here's the Zagros Mountain main fault. Here's a Khazura Run fault. Right, Bashar is right freaking next to that one. Yeah.
That's what I found when I just typed in faults near Bashir, and it started giving me all this stuff, and I said, yeah.
You got the Tabriz fault up here as Zagros main young fault. It goes with the Zagreb main fault here in the front of the mountains, and then it's in the middle here. The Moshe fault, you can see how it kind of dips like this, and the Astara fault kind of goes all the way, turns into the Khazar fault. North Alborz fault, which is right up in here, and the Tarood fault. Don't know what this one's name is. There's Nayban fault here. There's Banana Mountain Fault, Anar Fault, Bakhter Na Fault, Nostra Bad Fault. No shit. Sebzerian Fault. So, all right. So, and Kavar Na Fault. Down here, there's been huge here, right next to Pakistan. Iran Shabar, Bandar Abbas, Bashur, Abadan. We've heard about that one. Liam. Okay. So we got kind of familiarized with this. Go ahead, talk to us, bud.
Yeah, so now I got the quake list up there, so I'm going to start with
Okay.
2024 and 2023 and go down the list.
Okay.
Well, the newest noticeable one there, because in this list they're given like the most noticeable quakes
Right.
in Iran. So the first one they have was 2024, so last year 4.9. But then I looked at, then I
go ahead.
Nothing big has happened in Iran since that.
Since 2017, yeah.
Yeah. But I started looking into these 2023 ones, and then I said, oh, well, that's the same year as the Turkey quakes. Because it's been, Hormozgan got hit there with a 5.5, so that would have been after it because the Turkey quakes were in February. Well, then I looked down and I said, I remember these swarms in West Azerbaijan province. See, it was January 28, 2023. Then there was one on January 18th. And then it goes back. See, all the same places were acting up in 2022. See, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the same areas. Well, that was all leading into right before the big Turkey quakes. So I thought that was super interesting. So I remember that swarm in West Azerbaijan because I was looking it up back then when that happened. But I didn't remember that it was right before the big Turkey quakes. So I started looking down into this more.
I didn't either.
Yeah. And see, look at all the stuff it was doing in 2022. Look how many there are. This is crazy.
All right. Sure. I'll see. This is our list, everybody. We're talking about here. So 24, then 23, we had October at a 5.5. January we had a 5.9. January had a 5.7, and then in 22. So
what's weird is they're like seismic intensity 7 when they're only
right
4s and 5s and 6. So it's like crazy count.
Yeah, and the one in January is 5.9, widespread damage.
Yeah, and then I got down to the 2020 ones, and I said, "Oh, well, there's a 4.6 in Tehran." Well, that was the same year that the Alazig quake was.
Western Azerbaijan, 5.7. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2020 was the same year that quake was farther up the Eastern Anatolian Fault. So it was acting up right before that too, because that was in October, I think.
Yeah, I remember there was some quakes up on the northern one, and nothing ever came of it.
Yeah.
And then the southern one went off. That was kind of wild.
Yeah, and it was going crazy 2000, or it was acting up 2019, 2018, 2007. So I started looking down through all these, and I said, "Oh, yeah, well, that makes sense."
Tehran had one in 5.2 in 2017.
Yeah.
And then
I started looking down, and it's been basically shaking there quite a bit. It had a little break there from 2017 to 2014, but the rest of the time it's been going like all the time.
Yeah, but nothing in Tehran.
Yeah.
Tehran, 850 AD. A major earthquake, 45,000 people were killed.
And probably if I went down through this, I'd look in up to the same years that like Crete had a big quake. I bet it all lines up with these two. Which I
Right.
didn't. But I know some of the dates for them, but not all, because they have like the big list here
Uh-huh.
all the way down.
Well, it's like,
Yeah, because they have, I think, wasn't the big quake we looked up that was near Santorini, wasn't it 57? I think. One of those years. Because, see, I'm looking down here, it was having sevens in Iran. And
well, here we go. Samnan province, right?
Yeah.
Tehran is right there, just right next to it. So if you're looking at the Samnan in 856, 7.9, Tehran has an earthquake at that time period too. They don't know how many people. I mean, 45,000 people died. Those were a level 10 shakers. And Samnan in 743 again, 7.2. And then Samnan 662, another 40,000 people died. But then Tehran in 400 BC at 7.6. That
and what's
little
funny
area.
Yeah, and what's funny on this list, they don't have the 1831 in there. I noticed that.
Right. I know. I couldn't find that. Yeah.
Yeah. And see, there was a big quake in Isfahan in 1755. And when I looked that one up, because I looked it up other times, I think it was like a 7. Well, 1755 is same year as
Yeah.
Lisbon.
Lisbon. Yeah.
So I kept going down. I said, oh, well, I'll look here and see if they run into any other
Yeah.
ones. And there's a few, the farther you go back, that tie in with like Greece quakes.
Well, it's weird at this up in the,
Now, I imagine
in
this
the
list is
big
complete
quakes.
because it's missing the 1831. So somebody's
Sure.
never added that one on there. So,
Well, I'm sure people when they Western Azerbaijan.
so it's coming down our east-west line into Turkey and
Correct.
Greece and coming across. If we ever end up doing the stand.
Here's another one. Mazandarian province. That's just north of Tehran. So Mazandarian popped at 1932 and 1957. Both the 7.54 and a 7.1. So that's around that area of Tehran. If they had a 7.1 in Mazandarian, Tehran would be wiped out too. That's how close it is because it's just the shore. Tehran's a little bit off the shore, you know.
Yeah.
Right up here is where I'm talking about, but Tehran is, you know, right freaking there. That's Tehran. So this little province right here, these faults here devastate, you know, Tehran.
And it's worse now because there's
so many people. Yeah,
people that
populate.
Stuff to liquefy.
I mean, it can't be, but
like it would have been bad years ago too. But there's far less people.
70 miles. I mean, it's 70 miles to the coast, and let me see. Yeah, this one here. No, not that one. Was that it? No, I just did that one twice. Oh, right here. No, that's the same one. That one keeps popping up a lot. Eastern Iran, 6474, 7468, and then a 73 and 97. So in the 70s and the 60s and 70s, well, one area to the east was banging super hard. And then this is the one I'm talking about here. Mazandarian province. It's right up in the front. That's this. All up in here. So that's Tehran. So
Yeah.
Mazadarian.
Yeah,
So
thrown out.
you look at it. Is it what, a 2 point or a 6.3 that happened there in 2004, and then so Khorasan again started happening again. Azerbaijan, Bashir, way down there. There's another Tehran, 2017. I don't know where the hell this one is. Oh, that's up on the top knuckle. Yeah, top knuckle. No, I just hit that freaking 3 times. My short-term memory sucks.
Yeah. So to finish up tonight, I want to
Go
talk
ahead.
about the fault where the Ayatollah is supposedly hiding right now.
All right.
Because it's fairly new and there's like new studies on it. So I'm just going to bring that one. Well, I'm going to bring up just the Google search on it, the Google AI thing.
All right, bud.
Because it's kind of funny. Well, I think it's funny. Probably the Ayatollah doesn't if he knows it, and that's where it is. But he probably doesn't. And I'm just going to read it off. It's not that long.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, shit. There's a volcano right there, too.
Yeah. Yeah, if you start digging into it, you'll find out that's right by where he has his bunker, supposedly, is like a volcano. The Lavazon Fault is an active seismogenic fault zone located in Tehran, Iran, specifically in the Kuhak Lavazon area. That's the actual name of the fault. If you look it up, it's Kuhak Lavazon, which cuts through the inner city. It is one of several active faults identified within Tehran, including the Kaytaria, Partizan, Chitgar, and Garmdare faults. The Lavazon Fault is considered a major fault zone capable of producing moderate to strong seismic events in the Tehran and Karaj metropolitan areas. Location: it runs through Kulak Lavazon area of Tehran, cutting through the inner city. It's also where all the rich people live, plus the Ayatollah and the IRGC. It is an active fault, meaning it's still capable of generating earthquakes. Seismic potential: capable of producing moderate to strong earthquakes that could impact the Tehran and Karaj metropolitan area. Relationship to other faults: is part of a larger system of active faults in the Tehran region, including the Khazal Hasar, Madash, South Karaj, Araka, and Kajan fault zones. Rapid urban development in Tehran has covered some of the surface expressions of these fault zones, but the Lavazan Fault is known to cut through the city. And that's the name of the park there where the mountains are, where he has his bunker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was funny when I started looking that up just for fun. So he didn't build his bunker in a very good place either, but it appears they're not doing a very good job of building their stuff in safe places, but I'm not really surprised. So I thought that was pretty good. And then I don't have the study up here from 2018. I'm going to see if I can find it, because it talks about the percentage of them having a 7 within Tehran region. So I'll bring that up and then put it in here so if people want to look at it. 2018 Tehran quake study.
What was that? It's not Khomeini. I don't know. Who's the Iranian leader's bunker? I want to find out where the hell that is.
Yeah, Khomeini is his thing is in Labazon, supposedly. Now I'm trying to find that 2018 one.
Supreme leaders, freaking Nazi. Northeastern Tehran.
No, that's not it. Go backwards. See if I can find it again. Yes, it just gives me the big article from 2025. So again. So I'll put that in and I'll leave that for the last thing tonight.
Okay.
Because it kind of gives like a whole summary of
All right. Iranian news experts warn Tehran earthquake could kill over 6 million. Cool. Following two moderate earthquakes measuring 3 and 3.3 in Jawahabad, South Tehran on March 14th, Iranian experts have issued urgent warnings about the risk of catastrophic earthquake in the capital. Ali Bayatollah, a member of the regime's Road Housing and Urban Development Research Center, stated all of Tehran's fault lines are active. He warned that micro-earthquakes are clear indicators of tectonic stress, signaling the potential for much stronger seismic activity. Hence, that's why we look at these kinds of things as well, everybody. Seismologist Fairbors, Natal Elahi, and emphasized that Tehran is an imminent risk of a 7 magnitude or higher earthquake, stating that a major earthquake in Tehran is not a question if, but when. Sound like Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
A report by Noor News, run by the regime's Supreme National Security Council, highlighted the inevitability of a powerful earthquake striking Tehran, stating that such an event is not a distant possibility, but a definite reality that will occur sooner or later. So, okay, Tehran sits on active fault lines, including Rabat Karim Fault, Ray Fault, North Tehran Fault. The Rabat Karim Fault, which spans 60 or 90 kilometers to the, was identified by likely cause of recent tremors. Experts warn that a rupture along the fault lines could lead to mass casualties and infrastructural devastation. Despite the repeated warnings, Iranian authorities have failed to implement necessary earthquake preparedness. Yeah. According to official data, 2.5 million people live in dilapidated structures across 4,400 hectares in Tehran. A lot of people, baby. And they got the guy who's dead already, but, they didn't know that. Yeah. This is National Council of Resistance of Iran, Foreign Affairs Committee, written in 25, Amir Tagahati, March 15th.
This is like from March this year, so it's pretty recent.
Yeah, I mean it's the headline. It's the headline on the news here.
Yeah,
Well,
I know there was a Tehran councillor that on the city council was freaking out about it in 2023, and they got rid of him. So they didn't like him complained about it at every council meeting they had for the Tehran City Council, because he said they weren't paying attention to it and it was going to take the place out, and if they didn't do something about it soon, they were going to be in big trouble. So they got rid of him.
Yeah.
But the new president that's replaced the one that, since he crashed in the helicopter, the previous one. So I think the previous one didn't care too much about earthquakes, but
he got taken out, man. You know that.
Yeah, but the new president cares more about earthquakes, by what I was reading.
Well, the new president's dead. Yeah. They've killed everybody. Yeah. Decapitated the regime. They completely decapitated that regime. Oh, that's interesting here. This National Council of Resistance of Iran.
Yeah, so even the official government sources were admitting they were in trouble.
Yeah,
Now they're in even more trouble. There you go.
yeah.
That's all they got left is drones. That's all they appear to be shooting at. Israel now, unless they're saving their missiles for other stuff now. If they got any left that they can fire. But I don't know. I just find it interesting because I start reading about all this other stuff. So I wouldn't even have recognized all these other names and understood where they were unless I've been following all this crazy stuff that's going on right now.
Right.
And then I said, oh, look, there's the name of that place. And then I look and said, look, the name of the fault that goes right under it has the same name.
Crazy. Crazy, my brother.
And probably most of them aren't paying any attention to it. They're like us. They're saying, well, we don't care. So I'm not shaking. We're not worrying about it.
Well, the reason I wanted you to also to really dive into this particular subject is because they're in the news right now. Sharon is. And the other night, was it last night? Yeah, I think it was.
If you look up the 5.1 that was there yesterday, the day before, whatever day it was.
Right.
It's on a fault that they didn't know about. It's on a normal fault. Because
a normal fault. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Geology Hub guy looked it all up and tried to find out it was on a normal fault based upon the moment tensor.
Yeah, the 4.3 and the 5 point. Was it a 5.1?
Yeah, 5.1.
Big faults there in the north. And some people were claiming, well, was it a nuclear blast? And
yeah, but he explained that it was, since it was 10 kilometers deep.
Yeah.
And he showed what a tensor ball looks like if it's a nuclear blast.
Right. Looks different.
And he showed what it looks like if it's an actual normal fault quake. Mm-hmm. So he showed like the tensor balls, and they said where it is, and you could tell the orientation of the fault. But when he looked exactly where it was, there wasn't a named fault there yet. Mm-hmm. But that one, when I looked it up, because I wanted to see what it shook both the nuke site and Combe quite bad. 5.1. If you look on USGS map where it was, it's just that was a little bit northeast of where Fordo and the city of Combe is. So it kind of like shook there and came right down through that area. And when I kept going that same direction, like on the northeast to southwest line, and never guess where it went to. I just kept going, like on that angle through Combe and Bordeaux. I kept going on that angle. Guess where I ended up?
Where?
Central Mid-Atlantic Ridge, where the swarm is.
We had another earthquake there today.
Yeah. So this is why I say it's probably not over there. And they said there's no aftershocks to this one either yet. So they're kind of, well, the seismo people are worried about that. But of course, everybody else is worrying about getting bombed.
Well, there's a swarm off of Japan right now. 4 quakes that are registered on the USGS.
And the Central Mid-Atlantic Ridge had a big swarm just a bit lower than where the current one is.
Actually, God bless us.
Before the 7.7 Myanmar quake. And
these are all 4s. Heavy 4s, 4, 5. Wait, there was a 6.1. Okay. Off of Hokkaido.
I never kept going on because that Ecuador quake was down there today too, but I bet it lines up with that. Like if I kept going.
Yeah, I see your line here. Yeah, the 4.9 Central Mid-Atlantic Ridge. If you're going at a southwest, no, it doesn't line up. But then again, I'm not a flat earther, so if you're a flat earther, then you can make anything work.
And I never looked to see if any volcanoes were acting up in like Africa where it would cut through.
Right. Well, you have to do something in Brazil. You have to do something in Bolivia. and then Peru, southern Peru. Ecuador is too far north. Coming out of
But I've done that other times when I found the line. I go across and then I look for volcanoes.
Sure.
Along the line or whatever.
What's interesting is where that 5 was. Greece is banging too. 4.2 off of Greece. Follow that over, you go through Lisbon, right?
Yeah, well, there's your east-west line.
And then you get into the islands in the center of the mid-Atlantic. Forget what they're called right now. And then you got Azores. Then you got New York, Chicago, and if you keep going, you got the Mendocino fracture zone, which still work. But you can see everybody. You can see right up in here, Nevada, Texas. We have Puerto Rico, and then of course you're not all seeing it, but I am.
And we haven't done the Nankai Trough quakes yet, but
right
when we were looking at that east-west line with like the big 1856 Crete quake, and then there was a bit 5.7 in Virginia, 1856, and I kept going across on that line, and then we hit 1857 Fort Tejon quake. Well, going across, if you keep going across the other side, it goes right by Nankai Trough, which had 2 8s in 1854.
Right. And right now, looking on the map, there's several bangers by Tsunozajima.
So you can see it.
4.5,
like the same 4.4, for more than
4.8, and a 4.7.
And it just keeps going.
Tatsugo, Japan. So big hits right here. Well, I don't know why all of a sudden those are being hit. Precursor for something big. The Nankai Trough is right here. So,
well, Santorini up today too, I think. Sophie had another video about it.
Oh.
So
I don't have time to look all these people up. I've been trying to correct the problems I got on the software all day today. I've been working on it all freaking day, and finally I just said, "Screw it, blow it all out, uninstall everything, and then reinstall it all," because something got corrupted. I don't know what it was, but appreciate you there, bud.
So it was fun.
Is there any questions out there? Anybody have any questions? Or I'm drinking cold at the moment due to the heat. Okay. Good morning, Denise. We can have tea together if you Earl Grey. I get sleepy time. When I leave here, I lay down. I just ate a whole pizza myself. I haven't done that in years.
Yeah. Next time we'll go back to Central America. Start working our way.
Yeah. Central America. Yeah. We're going to talk about Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Salvador.
Yeah, El Salvador, Honduras,
Guatemala.
Boundary.
Yeah.
The shortest walk. That's the homework for next year.
Yeah, that'll be the homework, everybody.
That's what it's called. And I found out why they picked that name. It's named after the original indigenous people of that area.
Okay.
Chorty tribe. So they call it the Chorty's Walk.
Right on.
Crazy stuff.
Sure is. Well, again, appreciate you so much there, Canuck, for putting this together. And, sorry about all the technical problems. We went a little late.
Oh, we got missile alerts. That's
crap.
Yeah. Just like the last time, I think we had one. There was a big missile attack right after. I think the other night.
Yeah.
Right after we got off. So same thing again.
Well, all it does, I don't know what the hell's wrong.
So that's not good. Because usually they only do 1 or 2 of the missile alerts. Pre-alert.
I'm not. Oh, you have a pre-alert. Yeah. I don't know what you're using for the pre-alert.
I'm using the Shofar app. So they say right when they detect the missiles, and then you get all the alerts when they know the areas that it's coming
I
close
could
to.
tell the.
But that was 4. I usually don't hear 4. It's usually
Oh.
only 1 or 2 for the pre-missile alerts before the. So I don't know if anybody else is still alive. I guess we'll find out.
The Shofar app.
Yeah, TZOFAR.
Oh, T what?
Right.
T.
TZOFR. Because it has the pre-alerts on it, so that's the one I use.
All right.
It didn't have pre-alerts till just like the last couple months.
Oh, that's the red alert one still.
Yeah, but it's like the official one, so it gives you the pre-alerts. Because there's other ones you can get that are like the same thing, but not as fancy. Because this Shofar one will give you earthquakes and everything else too. So if there's ever an earthquake, it's going to show up on
TZOFAR, right? Red alert.
Yeah.
I'm using it. I don't know how.
Is it the updated version one? Because you should get the pre-alerts. It's the latest version.
I'm getting the one that's the computer generated one. No, it's sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if it gives the pre-missile alerts on the computer generated one. I think it's just on the app. The app. Because I have it on my old phone. I didn't want it on my new one. It drives me nuts. But I could put the other one away. Woke me up last night at 3 a.m. because they were getting a whole bunch of drone alerts. So there was something like 43 drone alerts or something last night at I don't know what time it was, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. my time. So it woke me up because it was going right crazy.
That's an extension of rockets and sirens and alerts that threaten Israel.
Yeah.
Red alert. Yeah,
but I like it because it gives me it tells me right when they detect the missile launches. So it takes so many minutes after that.
Yeah, like 22 minutes or something.
Yeah. And as far as I know, I don't know if I think they have one sort of like that for Ukraine, but I think it's like a map, like what the one is you're using, like on a computer. I don't know if it's got like an actual phone app. But there's a lot of places that don't have it, right? So you don't have. So if they start shooting missiles at all the other bases all over, because whatever the news organization there is in Iran, they put out a picture of all the bases they're going to shoot missiles at, all the U.S. bases. And they put out a statement. This was right before I came on. They said that they consider anybody who's an American now a target in the Middle East. So that's what they said.
They ain't
so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Of course, Israel's expecting that they're going to get a whole bunch shot at them, but we'll see if all the other places do. But by what I read earlier too, that Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and all of them will attack Iran too if they get hit with missiles. So it's not going to be just the States. Somebody said if all of them came with their planes and their jets, it'd be like 1,200 planes from all those different countries. And Turkey said if they get hit, they might come too. Because see, there's the U.S. base in Turkey, but that's within range of the Iranian missiles. So I don't know, maybe even Turkey will be in there too. I don't think it's going to go too good for Iran if everybody decides they're all coming to get them, which may happen.
Well, they've been pushing this crap for God bless America. Angels beat the Astros 9-1.
Yeah, the Jays won today.
Yeah.
Beat the White Sox.
How'd your boys do?
7-1.
Oh, beat the White Sox even.
Yeah, they beat the White
Uh-huh.
Sox today. They lost to them yesterday.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is, baby.
Yeah. All sorts of crazy stuff going on, I guess.
Yeah, I heard talk about them trading Mike. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Now all the alerts will start now.
Yeah, big ones. Yeah. Tel Aviv, Ashrod, yeah, central on the coast. It's going towards Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
No,
So
also in the north. North of Haifa.
Because according to them,
Yeah.
they haven't even used the good missiles yet. And according to some of the things I was looking at yesterday, they said they actually have 28,000 to 30,000 missiles. So if that's true, it's not going to be good. So the Israelis say that they had 3,000 in their intelligence reports. Well, that's quite a difference between 28,000 and 30,000 and 3,000.
Crazy.
Because somebody said if the different ones I was reading, they said that they don't have enough. If this lasts for two more weeks, they're all going to be other interceptors.
They're pretty close now. That's why they're
because the armory that makes them in the States has also been sending missiles to Ukraine, so their stock is low because they're fighting two wars with.
I don't think I can turn the volume down on that
at the same time.
Unfortunately, I can't.
Which is why I said after I learned all that stuff yesterday, I said they should have been going with the B-2 bombers taking out the missile storage facilities. Now that I've been studying all about them, the ones that they know.
Yeah, but they've been hitting with the the GB-35s or whatever. They do pretty good. They get 20 feet in there.
Some of the missile storage bases are 500 meters.
Right. Well, they're in a big cave, but all you got to do is close the end of the cave, and they can't do shit.
Yeah, but the problem is the ones I was reading about have tracks and silos in the mountain that they shoot them out. So if they start using those, it's not going to be good. Unless all the silos are blown out.
They just got to bomb the silos. Looks like it's north of Tel Aviv right now, between Haifa and Tel Aviv. It's in this region. Looking at that's the Angels beat them today. Multi-camera. Go live.
And I'll have to go see if anybody's live with the live.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, the lives right now.
Because anybody that's actually live, the ones that are coming it good, they switch between cameras. So
right.
See what's going on. But they've been ordered for the cameras that are movable, they have to put them up in the sky. They put them up.
They got it in Tel Aviv. I'm showing Tel Aviv right now.
They have to put them up in the sky. They're not allowed to show the buildings.
One hit. Here comes another one. Oh, they hit it. Blew it out of the sky.
Yeah. Because you'll see the.
Oh, this might be old. This might even be old, but maybe not.
No,
see the missile.
It would be coming in right now. Just I don't have it up.
Oh!
On the floor.
Okay. One just hit. This is old shit. This is all old. I've seen these before. That's a lot of. I get pissed off pretty easily.
Yeah, well, it's hard to find ones that are actually live.
Right.
Like there's so many live cams, but then they get too many on the screen. You can't see nothing. So then you got to find one that's where they show what's actually going on. This screen is locked.
It looks like they're going after Haifa right now. It's daylight right now, so I don't get it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because it's daylight over there now. They're 6 hours ahead of me, so it's 7:40 a.m. there.
Yeah.
But I've noticed lately they've been launching it during the daytime too. They're harder to see the interceptions in the daytime. It's easier to see it at night. Since I've watched it so many times now.
Haifa rockets going off.
So a bunch of
Well, it's cloudy there too, so it's hard to see when they blow up too. But they've been doing it like around breakfast time early in the morning lately. Over there.
Well, that's a funny thing is, the U.S. has the sentries up, and the sentry can tell you, okay, that's where it's coming from. Go get it, and they'll bomb the shit out of that spot.
Yeah. No one's coming into
North of Tel Aviv right now, it seems mostly.
I don't know which camera he's showing.
Let me see if I can't shut that thing off.
Because it'll keep going as long as there's any active alerts. I have to shut the whole phone off.
Looks like they shot a few of them, man.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch over Haifa right now. I can hear the interceptors.
Yeah, Haifa. Yeah, the interceptors are going over Haifa. And Tel Aviv, too.
I like it at nighttime because
you can see them, man.
The interceptors are white and the missiles themselves are orange.
Yeah, orange. Yeah.
So you can tell the difference.
Oh, they're all above the clouds there, boy.
Yeah, so it's hard to see.
Yeah.
You can hear it, but
oh shit.
Yeah, you can hear when it makes an impact too.
Oh yeah.
Because it makes a way louder noise. But they're not allowed to put the cams down to show the buildings now. They have to point the cams up to the sky, or otherwise they're not going to be allowed to show it.
Tel Aviv again.
Yeah, the people in the chat don't get it. If they haven't seen it before.
Right.
But I've seen it so many times now. Saunders said 30 plus missiles.
Jerusalem East too.
Yeah, because I was reading about their newest ones that they have that they just made since like 2022. They are maneuverable, so they do zigzags.
Yeah, they can avoid. Yeah,
intercept them. Whatever they're called, Qassam, or it's named after Soleimani there. Soleimani's first name is Qassam. That's what they're called, I think.
Yeah.
And they started making them in 2022, so they're only like 3 years old. The newest ones. Qassam missiles, they're called. And they're the ones that move around, so they're hard to intercept. I don't know which ones are the ones they're putting the cluster bombs in. I can't remember.
Yeah, I heard they're doing that too.
So, like when they blow apart, it shoots cluster bombs all over the place. And then But those are the ones, I guess, that are doing all the big damage now. The ones with the cluster bombs in them.
It seems like
sirens are going off there again.
Yeah, the sirens are going off. I just muted it. Yeah, I think that. Saw something go through there. There was at least one impact that I heard.
Steve's got 3 cams up, but he puts one big one and then switches them so you can see better.
I'm going towards Jerusalem again now. What was that dude's name again?
Which one? Oh, I'm watching Lookner right now.
Oh, you're
TV. The other guy, BP, I don't know if he's still on or not. Because he does the same thing, except he has more cams, and then he switches to whatever one all the
right.
time. I don't know if he's still on now or not. All the people are going, this is horrible in the chat. Well, I guess they haven't been watching it before. So my sister said they launched at least 30-some missiles.
30 missiles?
Yeah, 30 plus.
All right.
Because she actually gets the stuff on Telegram before I do.
This guy just got housing.
Multiple impacts and Haifa, she said.
Say that?
Yeah, multiple impacts in Haifa. So,
In Haifa?
Yeah. Well, once it gets over 20 missiles, they have problems.
Right.
Because they said on the newest missiles in the latest volleys, the last 2 or 3 days, their effectiveness has gone down to 62% or 63%. It was 90 at first, but now with these new
Now it's
missiles,
down to 60. Yeah.
and they said within 2 weeks it'll be down to 0 because they don't have any left. That's what people are worrying about. All the analysts.
Well, anyway, everybody, if you're out there on YouTube and Rumble, thanks for being here. Stay tuned for the next one on Wednesday. Love you. Big hugs. Bye-bye.